So brothers and fathers, I wanted to ask a short question at the beginning. Has there ever been a mirror that can reflect us as we truly are, deep in the heart? And I want you to imagine yourself now, under the sun, the blazing hot sun, a little cicada making its buzzing sound off to the side. The grass is blowing with the breeze, super dusty, and Jesus, he sits down at the well. And the gospel says something very interesting. It says he had to pass through Samaria. He's not there by chance, just because, Samaria is on the way from Judea to Galilee. No, many other Jews take a different way. What was the necessity of Jesus coming through Samaria? Well, he's waiting for his necessity right now. And she, with a lot of things in her heart, with a lot of heaviness, dragging her feet, tired, guilty, is walking up the hill from Sychar towards the well. And let's go into her for a second. She's alone. She's coming at 12 o'clock, the hottest time of the day. She's isolated from her own people in Sychar. She feels like she's not one of them. She's alienated. The second thing, she's had 5 husbands, and that's probably why she's alone. One man after another man after another man. Toxic relationship, dissatisfaction, heaviness, guilt, alienation. That's what it's led to. And the last thing is the Samaritans were sort of schismatics in that time. The Jews and the Samaritans were sort of enemies, and Samaria is sort of surrounded by Jewish land. So even in the bigger picture, she felt like she was alone. And I'm sure there are a lot of things inside of her that she wished weren't there. She didn't grow up as a little girl saying, yeah, I want to have 5 husbands, and in the end, nobody will be my husband. She didn't say that. She wanted to grow up and have a normal life, to be a good person, to be happy, to worship God. But this hasn't happened, and she's made mistakes in her past. And now, she's dragging a lot of luggage with her up that hill towards Jesus. That's the necessity that Jesus was waiting for. Now, when she arrives, Jesus says, give me a drink. And the normal discourse, you're a Jew, I'm a Samaritan, we don't usually do that kind of thing. And then after that, Jesus says, if you had asked, I would have given you living water. So Jesus was going like this, normal discourse, then he plunged into the depths of the well, living water. Now, some commentaries say, this living water, she understood it as flowing water, because still water is usually a little bit warmer, it has stuff floating in it, stuff growing in it. But flowing water is usually a little bit cooler. It doesn't have anything really floating in it. Maybe something, but not that much. And it's usually cleaner. Jesus is saying, I can give you what you actually desire. I can give you the fresh, bubbling, joyful waters of the streams of my grace. As opposed to what you've been taking your entire life, the water from the well that has all this stuff floating in it, all your past. And throughout the entire dialogue, it's not like Jesus is just being nice to her either. He says, you've had 5 husbands, and none of them is your husband, after the question and all that. And it's not like something that's probably comfortable for her to hear from somebody else that they know her so thoroughly. But at the end of the entire dialogue that she has with Jesus, she goes back to her fellow Sycharians. She goes back to them with joy, saying, there's this man, and he's told me everything I've ever done. And she's saying this joyfully for some reason. It's kind of funny. But why? Because as she was going through this conversation with Jesus, She can see the reflection in his eyes that she sees in everybody else, which is usually filled with that accusation, that slight, you're not as you should be. But then she goes deeper. She sees into Jesus' eyes, and she's caught up in the beauty, the gentleness, the lovingness. And Jesus sees her as she truly is, into her deepest, inmost heart. And despite all those things that seem to surround it now and seem to cake it with mud and dirt and grime, Jesus sees through all of that. And he's there for his daughter in this moment, and he loves her. That is what gives her the joy in the end, to go out to her people, to go out to her fellow Sicarians who she was an alien of, and give them Jesus, and bring them to him. And in the end, many people convert. They all went to Jesus. And that's awesome. And we're sort of in the same situation in our lives many times. We have things that we're dragging along with us. We don't always feel like we're perfectly lovable. We never will. But in Jesus' eyes, we can see who we truly are. We can be loved. And then we can go out and take that love to other people. Jesus revealing the love of his heart to others. So as we're before the Eucharist right now, if you look at the monstrance, you can see it has that little window in front of it. And that's like the film of the eye. And if you were standing right in front of it, you'd probably see your own reflection. But then look deeper. Look into Jesus' eyes. His eyes that are looking at you right now, in this night, loving you. You can see the gentleness. You can see the beauty. So as we stay here with Jesus, let's receive the love that he wants to give us from his heart in the Eucharist, so that we can bring his love to other peoples in the end.